get to your big boppers in the lineup. If those guys can get hits, score runs, and your pitching is solid, boy, the Dodgers will win a lot of games.
Sure is great to see Tommy Lasorda out and about, and he has just been a fantastic ambassador this entire spring. Let's take a look at Don Mattingly's pitcher for today. We expected to see Ted Lilly, but instead, a little bit of a switch. We're going to have Jamie Wright trying to open some eyes. Ted Lilly is going to pitch today, but he's going to pitch to Indians minor leaguers on one of the backfields. They just want to get him more innings and more relievers into today's game.
Well, because of the rain out that they had in the sixth inning the other day, they didn't get all the relievers the action that they wanted to. You know, Don Mattingly's got to see these guys out of the bullpen and pitch. Jamie Wright's going to make a start. He's been a starter off and on over his career. He's been a reliever his last few years. We'll talk a little bit more about that when the guys take the field.
And the Dodgers will be tested because Tim Stauffer is probably going to be the Padres' opening day starter in a couple of weeks. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups for both sides, and we'll have our first pitch. Dodgers playing game number 19 here this spring. So far, 9 wins, 5 losses, and 4 ties for the Dodgers. Let's take a look at how Bud Black will have his Padres lineup today. Cameron Maybin rewarded with a contract extension. Leads things off in center field. Former Dodger Orlando Hudson, O-Dog at second base once again. Jesus Guzman in left field. Yonder Alonso. A lot of expectations for him. Just coming over during the offseason from Cincinnati. He'll play first. Kristen Orfia, James Darnell, Yasmani Grandal also coming over from the Reds. He's their catcher of the future. A lot of talent there. Everett Cabrera trying to make the team. And Tim Stauffer. Good chance of becoming the opening day starter for the second straight year. He will be making his 5th start of the spring. And Jamie Wright gets his first start of the spring for the Dodgers.
Jamie Wright going through a little bit of a transition in the later part of his career. He's much more of a sinker-slider guy now rather than a power pitcher that he tried to be earlier in his career. He's been around for a long time, 17th professional season. He's got 13 years in the major leagues. He'll be out there trying to get ground balls for this infield. I mean, last few seasons he pitched for Seattle, technically had his best year ever last year ERA-wise with a 3.16. Last time he started a major league game, 07. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. These are the guys helping him out defensively. Juan Rivera's made an error with the glove each of the last 2 games. That may be an issue. Matt Kemp in center field. Tony Gwynn Jr. replacing Andre Ethier in right. Left side of the infield is Jerry Hairston Jr. and D. Gordon. Mark Ellis, the second baseman. James Loney. That's going to be a great defensive right side of the infield this year. A.J. Ellis behind the plate catching Jamie Wright. And Dodgers as a team with 2 errors yesterday and now have 15 errors so far through the first 18 spring training games. That's not a pace you want to keep.
Not at all. The Dodgers have been noted as an outstanding defensive team over the last few years, and that's something that Don Mattingly wants to make sure that he continues. He's not going to stand. It's not going to be the type of team that can afford to give the other team extra outs, so they need to catch the ball.
So Cameron Maybin grabs the bat. It'll be Maybin, Hudson, and Guzman here in the first inning. Padres have won 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8. Pitch misses inside.
2 years ago, when surprisingly the San Diego Padres had an outstanding year, a game from really jumping into the playoffs out of nowhere. Last year they were kind of in a rebuilding type of a mold. They did have a lot of guys that they gave opportunities to, Maybin being one of those guys that threw up career numbers for themselves. Tim Stauffer, another guy As we talked about before, the starting pitcher, a bunch of guys up and down through that lineup that had the best years of their career.
Big swing and a miss. Maben last year, 264 the batting average. 9 home runs, which is saying something at Petco Park. And 40 runs batted in. He stole 40 bases. This guy still just 25 years of age.
I think the Detroit Tigers just heaped a lot of praise on him a little bit too early. Got into the big leagues too early. Got disgruntled with the production. Shipped him off to Florida. Florida, same situation. And found a home here in San Diego where he really blossomed last season. And I think it's those 40 stolen bases that jump out at you. He's going to be a guy that hits at the top of the lineup and is going to have to run.
On the ground to the shortstop. D. Gordon fields and fires. There's our first out. So Maben is retired, and that'll bring up Orlando Hudson. O-Dog now 34 years of age, spent just 1 season with the Dodgers. That was back in 2009. He was an all-star that year. So far this spring, he's had a bit of a tough go. Just 3 hits and 17 at-bats.
Well, a lot of people remember, too, the year that he was with the Dodgers. On opening day, the O-Dog hit for the cycle.
Swings at the first pitch, little tapper. Jerry Hairston makes the play. So a couple of ground ball outs for Jamie Wright. This is going to be Jesus Guzman in left field today. 27-year-old Venezuelan. Last year owned first base for the most part in the second half of the season for the Padres after being called up. First base was a trouble spot for the Pods last year. Began the season with Brad Hawpe as their everyday first baseman. That didn't work. Then they called up Anthony Rizzo, who at the time was their top prospect. And he just was exposed at the big league level. They had to send him back down. And Guzman filled in for the last 59 games at first.
So well that Rizzo isn't even in the organization anymore. Threw up some pretty good numbers in his opportunity. Over 300. We talked about before, Petco, such a tough place to hit home runs. He had 5. A little versatility for him, maybe trying him out in the outfield. As we talked about, first baseman last year, playing in left field today.
On the ground, should be routine. D. Gordon fires low, but James Loney able to make the play. 3 ground ball outs to the left side of the infield. Jamie Wright acquitting himself nicely. We move to the home half of the first inning. Dodgers will send Gordon, Ellis, and Kemp to the plate against Tim Stauffer. things off in the bottom of the first inning for the Dodgers. D. Gordon will be followed by Mark Ellis and Matt Kemp. James Loney will hit fourth. He's had a nice spring. Juan Rivera in the 5-hole. Tony Gwynn Jr. hit sixth. He's replacing Andre Ethier, who is on fire out in right field. Jerry Hairston third. A.J. Ellis. And then Jamie Wright will bat for himself if he gets that deep into the game. Dodgers expecting to roll out a lot of different relief pitchers today to get work here during this big league game. Here is Tim Stauffer getting the start for the Padres.
His fourth start of the spring so far, as you said, probably in line to make his second straight opening day start for this Padre team. Stauffer, another one of those guys that just had career highs in everything last year. His record was 9-12. The ERA well under 4 at 3.73.
Bouncer, that's going to be a base hit. Once it got past the third baseman, you knew that was going to be a base hit for D. Gordon. He now has 4 hits in his last 5 at-bats.
Well, welcome to the road show now. D. Gordon on first base. You know that not going to stay there very long. This is exactly what D. Gordon's going to do all day long. He's going to pull the third baseman in because he might bunt, and then he's going to try to slap it by him. Even if the shortstop fields that ball, you have no chance of throwing out D. Gordon. Doing exactly what he's programmed to do.
D with 5 steals and 6 attempts so far this spring.
You and I were here for the one attempt that he got thrown out at, and he was clearly safe.
We were also here when he stole second base when just no one was paying attention. Pitcher didn't see what was going on, and no one covered the bag at second. He's going to be that type of guy who is just going to be a pest this season.
Well, he's going to be the type of base stealer that I think is, clearly in the elite of base stealing. And to me, you're an elite base stealer when everybody in the world knows that you're going to go eventually. You got to be smart enough to pick the pitch, but it's not like if you go, it's when you go. And when you can steal bases, in that case, you are a great base stealer.
There he goes, throws off the mark. Nice backup by Orlando Hudson, but that's going to be the 6th steal of the spring for D. Gordon.
Now this is what he's going to do. He forces you to do everything quicker than you want. Comes out of that throw a little bit, lets it tail on him, and it goes into the outfield. Actually, a great job by Hudson backing that play up. There's another stolen base. And now Mark Ellis knows exactly what he needs to do. Get the ball to the right side of the field and make sure that when he's done hitting, Gordon has either scored or he's on third.
Ellis 2 for 3 in yesterday's game, including 3 runs batted in. Flares this one to right field. Will it be deep enough? I don't think it will be. No, D has to put the brakes on and stay at second base.
Mark Ellis will be a little upset with himself right there, knowing that his job is to try to get the ball to the right side of the field. He did do that, but he doesn't want to flip it up in the air so that Gordon can't advance.
So 1 out now. Gordon still on at second, and Matt Kemp will step in. 324 last year, 39 homers. Off to a good start so far this spring. 10 hits and 33 at-bats for a .303 batting average. Does have a homer and 5 runs batted in.
Talked to Matt earlier today about how he approaches these at-bats this deep into spring training now. Is he still working on specific pitches? Like, I'd really like to see balls inside because I'm not handling them right now, and I'd want to be pitched in. Sometimes you go up there and you can't really work on something specific because maybe they're not working you that way. And he said, I'm pretty much past that point, so I'm going to use my at-bats today to try to determine how Stauffer's going to pitch against him during the season. Division matchup here today with the Padres. I think also one of the reasons why Ted Lilly is not pitching today. Why throw Ted Lilly against a team that he's going to have to face? The Dodgers will face the Padres 19 times during the season. Let Ted Lilly go face some minor leaguers from the Indians and don't pitch him in a game that might matter later on.
This is the first meeting of the spring between the Padres and the Dodgers. They'll meet again next Tuesday. That game will be at the Padres Park over in Peoria. 2-0 pitch. That catches the outer half. 2-1.
That ballpark, what, 7 miles from here, maybe? Up on the 101, you're there in 5 minutes.
Stauffer's 2-1. 2-2. Last year, the Padres finishing 20 games below 500. They're 71 and 91. And in the offseason, the major change is they got rid of their ace, Matt Latos, traded to the Cincinnati Reds, and they got a whole bunch of young talent in return.
Boy, I think that was a great trade for the Padres. Filled a bunch of positions, first base. They got a starting pitcher. They have a starting catcher, starting first baseman, all for Matt Latos, who, you know, may have seen his best year already.
Now, Edinson Volquez is the starting pitcher you're talking about. He has struggled in the last couple of years, but Volquez for a while was really good. Made an all-star team a couple of years ago, back in 2009. Volquez, Yonder Alonso, Yasmani Grandal, and Brad Boxberger's got a really nice arm. We're expecting to see him. He's got a chance to make the team and come out of the bullpen. So those 4 players, all with bright futures, coming over from Cincinnati in exchange for Latos. 3-2 pitch. Fooled him. Matt was looking for something different, and he goes down on strikes for the second out.
Well, just like what Matt was talking about here, may have guessed wrong in this situation, but really wants to see what he's going to get. Guessed wrong because he got a fastball down the middle. He sure wasn't looking for that. Matt will put that in memory bank. See if Stauffer pitches him that way again when the season starts.
So 2 outs now, and James Loney steps in. James yesterday going 1 for 4 with an RBI double his first time up. Takes down low ball 1. Loney hitting .304 this spring with a homer and 5 runs batted in. Dodgers began this inning with a little squirting base hit off the bat of D. Gordon. Moved to second on the first pitch with his 6th steal of the spring. Ellis couldn't move him over to 30, flied out to right field, and then the strikeout of Kemp. And now it's up to James Loney. I've been watching that group hit the last couple of days batting practice. Loney, Kemp, and Ethier have been in the same group for the last 5 years taking batting practice. And I can't think of a threesome in all of Major League Baseball that thrive on going the opposite way as much as those 3 do. Some real pretty swings getting grooved today during batting practice.
Well, you're talking about Loney and Ethier from the left-hand side, 2 of the prettier swings in the game. And then Matt Kemp, who's just so powerful going the other way and really looks to do that. I mean, that's his primary objective, is to go to right center field, and he knows that if he's a little bit late, he can shoot it down the right field line. If you fool him just a little bit, which is fine, most hitters don't like getting fooled because they get out in front. If you fool a guy who's trying to go the other way, all he does is pull the ball, keeps it fair. And Matt Kemp can just launch one to left field if you fool him.
Swinging on 3-0. This ball laced to center field, but Maben makes the catch. A nice jump on that and makes it backing up. So the Dodgers strand Gordon at second. We played an inning here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. No score. 6 days. Yesterday the sun was out, the temperatures were in the 60s. Today we've got temperatures in the high 70s. And got that same cloudless, sunny day. With Steve Lyons, I'm Eric Collins. Yonder Alonso will bat against Jamie Wright. This is a guy that I'm pretty sure everyone in that Dodger dugout is top-stepping it right now. They want to get a good feel for what he's all about. He's supposed to be the real deal. He's going to be the everyday first baseman for the Padres. Alonso leading the Padres in at-bats so far this spring. He's gotten 42 at-bats. That's a lot for this stage of spring training. But he's playing every day. Originally born in Cuba, but he came over with his family as a 10-year-old. He's a college player, played for the Miami Hurricanes, and was drafted in the first round by the Reds a couple of years ago. But he's blocked. He's the first baseman, doesn't play anywhere else, and they got Joey Votto.
One of 19 current active major leaguers from Cuba.
2-1 fouled back to the screen.
That's a nice swing right there. I mean, last year he was a AAA All-Star. As you said, this is a guy that probably should have had an opportunity at the major league level a little earlier than right now. But when you're playing behind Joey Votto, you're not going anywhere. So it wasn't easy to put him in the deal. But once again, I really think that San Diego got the better of that deal. Time will tell. But the Latos deal to Cincinnati, you really plugged a lot of holes that this team needed plugged. He called up last year with the Reds. Hit .330, 5 homers and 15 RBIs in very limited duty.
3-2 on the ground. Ellis throws out Alonso. So the first 4 Padres have all bounced out against Jamie Wright.
Well, as we talked about with Wright now being less of a power guy and more of a sinker slider, get me some ground balls. And it's smart considering the defensive outfield you have out there. D. Gordon improving on a daily basis with his defense. We know he has tremendous range. Mark Ellis hasn't made more than 6 errors in a season in his last 10 years. James Loney's a gold glove guy waiting to happen over there. Throw the ball and make him hit it on the ground.
Here's Chris Denorfia. Denorfia last year getting into 111 games with the Padres, hitting at .277 with 5 homers. This one in the air. First chance for Matt Kemp. He's up to the task. Catch is made. Ball carried a bit. I didn't think it was going to get that deep.
Well, just like the players, you and I are getting used to the fact that it doesn't matter if the wind's blowing out. If you hit the ball from center to the left field line, it's going to take off. It's going to jump.
And look at those flags. Can't really tell much, but we saw yesterday Brooks Conrad for the Brewers. 2-strike breaking ball from Chad Billingsley. It looked like he just kind of threw the bat head out of it and went opposite field over the fence. Here's James Darnell, born in Fresno, but went across the country to play his college baseball. Played at South Carolina. And if you've ever spent any time in Columbia, South Carolina, they'll be the first to tell you that they call themselves the real USC. Actually, they call themselves 2 things. The Gamecocks do. They call themselves USC, which blows my mind because everyone knows that USC is, University of Southern California, the Trojans. But they also call themselves Carolina. And everyone who knows anything, the only people allowed to call themselves Carolina are the North Carolina Tar Heels. So they've got an identity issue. Darnell flips it foul out of play. But they've also got a really good baseball program. Two outs, bases clear. James Darnell, 25-year-old. Last year made 18 appearances with the Padres.
Third base is a place where they actually do have a bunch of guys thinking that they can take that job. Darnell, one of them. Last year, pretty good numbers moving up the chain between AA and AAA. He hit 23 homers. I don't know if people understand how difficult that is during the course of a season when you're a guy who's playing well. Everybody wants to get called up, get called to the big leagues, move to the next place. But, it's a little tougher in the minor leagues because I guarantee you're not making that much money. Once you get to the big leagues, the minimum salary in the major leagues now is $490,000.
Oh, goodness.
Making some pretty good cake once you get to the big leagues. But you're not doing that in the minor leagues. You get called from AA to AAA. You already had one bad apartment somewhere that you had to rent furniture for. Now you got to go to the next place. If you're married and have a family, you got to figure out now, where are we going? Where is AAA? I got to get to that team. I got to play well. Got to get set up again. It's expensive.
3-2 out of play.
Already talked about the catcher Grandal. We'll see him in a couple batters. He played in 3 different divisions last year. A-ball, AA, and AAA, all in the same year. Darnell played AA and AAA last year. That's one thing, getting called from AA to the big leagues. Quite another when you're just bouncing around to different spots in the minor leagues.
Look at James Loney. Times it perfectly and makes the squeeze for out number 3. Jamie Wright, if that's it, he was pretty darn good. 6 up, 6 down through the first 2 innings. We're still scoreless. Coming to a close on a nice defensive play by James Loney.
Well, we just talked about Jamie Wright using the ability of the defense of his infielders. There's James Loney getting it done with the glove. Look how far off the line he makes that play. We talked about the potential for him being a gold glove type first baseman. It's an oddity in the game of baseball, and you'll back me on this, I'm sure. You don't win a gold glove in baseball until you have a good offensive season. So when James breaks out offensively, his name will be put on that list to be a gold glove winner. One of the more ironic things you'll ever see in the game.
Juan Rivera, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Jerry Hairston Jr. will bat here in the second inning off of Tim Stauffer. Fly ball to center field. Cameron Maben ambles back and makes the play. So Rivera gives it a ride, but hits it in the wrong direction. Maben is really good out there in center field.
Right fielder number 10, Tony Gwynn Jr.
So the former Padre, Tony Gwynn Jr. will bat. 292 for Tony so far this spring. 4 runs batted in. Tony's second year now with the Dodgers. Last year he was invaluable. All the playing time he got coming off the bench for the most part. Takes downstairs, ball 1.
Well, one of the things about TG Jr. is he's a guy that knows what his role is and accepts that. I mean, obviously, every player that plays in the major leagues wants to be a guy who plays every day, wants to be a guy that hits 25 homers and, you know, can steal 50 bases, will do all that stuff. But you need a guy that's going to accept the role that you give him. If Tony Gwynn was a guy who wanted to play every day and was crying about it, you don't need that. He knows what his role is. He knows he's not going to play every day. And he knows that it's his speed and his defense is that's going to keep him in the big leagues.
Little humpback liner to Everett Cabrera. And there are now 2 outs here in the second inning. Now you're talking about Tony Gwynn, and obviously he was really good defensively and running the bases, and he held his own with the bat last year. But also one of the things that the coaching staff was really happy about was the way that he really took D. Gordon under his wing when D got called up.
He's a great teammate. You know, he has a skill set that he can pass along. But, you know, I'm a true believer in the game of baseball. If you played the game as long as he has, you can pass on other advice and other skills, maybe even some of them that you don't have. You can still talk about the way the game's played, the way things, you know, I can give you some advice on a skill that you possess that I don't. Just because I can't do it doesn't mean that I can't teach it or can't talk to you about how you should best apply it to your game.
Jerry Hairston hits a rope that's going to go over Guzman's head and all the way to the wall. Hairston chugging into second. He'll make it easily with a stand-up 2-out double.
That's one of the things that Don Mattingly really likes about Jerry Hairston is that he's just a pretty good hitter. You know, his numbers aren't going to be eye-popping. He's not going to hit the ball out of the yard, but this is what he does very well, and he goes up there and gives you some pretty darn tough at-bats.
So Hairston, who's getting his strength back, he missed a couple of days because he had a really nasty flu. But he's back in the lineup today, and he's got himself in scoring position with 2 outs, and A.J. Ellis will bat. A.J. 5 for 23 so far this spring. Starts with a strike. Good fastball. Strike on the outer half, 0-2. It's not the most important thing in the world, but the Padres really hoping for a nice outing today from Stauffer. He was roughed up his last time out against the Angels, March 16th. Lasted just 2 2/3. Gave up 5 earned runs, 11 hits, walked a couple. And this is a guy who more than likely is going to be the opening day starter. So eventually you have to get people out and earn the trust of the coaching staff.
Well, it's funny, too. It would be his second straight opening day start. And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but when you think of Tim Stauffer, you don't think of him as being a guy who's been around that long, but he's the second longest tenured player in a Padre uniform. Second only to who?
Ernesto Friera.
You are on fire again.
Frieri, I apologize. Ernesto Frieri. I read the same thing you did. The media guide. He was the first-round pick.
Yeah, but
back in 2003.
I just figured if I actually read it, you know, there's no way you found it somewhere.
Stauffer was a big deal. He's the 4th player picked overall in the 2003 draft. Came out of Richmond. And a lot of high hopes for him, but he's just had an injury problem and never really been the pitcher they thought they were getting. Ellis, 2-hopper to the shortstop Cabrera. Cabrera throws high, but Alonso stays on the bag, and that'll retire the side. Dodgers waste a 2-out double by Jerry Hairston. We move to the 3rd. Scoreless game here in the desert. Padres and the Dodgers. Your first meeting of 2 this spring between the Padres and the Dodgers. And we're going to have a new pitcher. Jamie Wright goes 2 innings, doesn't allow a base runner, and he's replaced now by Mike McDougal.
Mike McDougal in his last appearance against the Angels came in and threw a scoreless inning. He's the one guy out there right now that's still trying to round his game into shape. ERA up over 10. That's not very McDougal-like. Get that sinker going again. He's thrown 3 1/3 innings so far. This is his 5th appearance in a ballgame.
First man he faces, switch hitting catcher Yasmani Grandal. Grandal selected in the first round, 10th overall, 2010 by the Reds, coming out of the University of Miami. He was part of that package, along with Edinson Volquez and Yonder Alonso, to come from Cincinnati to San Diego in exchange for Matt Latos. More than likely, Grandal is not going to make the team. Their everyday catcher is Nick Hundley. He just was signed to a 3-year contract extension with a club option for 2015. That was just yesterday.
Hundley, another one of those guys that had a career season last year for these Padres. Probably the best player on the club.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Chopped foul. Oh, did that go off the foot? It did. That was off the foot of Grandal. And so it's a dead ball. And we'll do it again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Looking at the Padres roster, how it shakes up and what we have today on the field here in Glendale. The everyday players that we're not going to see today, Nick Hundley behind the plate. More than likely he's going to be backed up by John Baker this year. That pitch misses inside. Jason Bartlett did not make the trip. He's going to be the everyday shortstop for Bud Black. Chase Headley is going to be the everyday third baseman. He is not here today. And Carlos Quinton, they picked him up in the offseason from the Chicago White Sox, and he's not here. He's not even with the team right now. He tore his meniscus, and he's going to be out probably a month and a half. Won't be ready for opening day. Walk is issued now to Grandal. That's a tough break because Quinton can really hit.
When he's healthy. Some of the numbers he threw up there when he was with the Chicago White Sox.
So the outfield, the way it's going to shake down, you know that you're going to have Cameron Maben in center field. But it's going to be a combination with Quinton out of Will Venable, Kyle Blanks. This ball squirted into left field. That'll get down. First base hit for the Padres. Everett Cabrera gets a single. So runners on at first and at second now with nobody out.
McDougal sort of still struggling with location and the movement on his pitches. We talked about him, another guy. He's going to come in and try to get you to beat the ball into the ground. McDougal, in his entire career, if there's been the bugaboo, it's the fact that he walks a lot of guys. Always has. Last year he kept that under control for the most part. If you give up a walk and then a base hit, now you're looking at some trouble.
So Stauffer will bat. Imagine thinking about a bunt. Runners at first and at second, nobody out. And McDougal misses outside.
Dodgers looked like they had a little bit of a pickoff play there with D. Gordon coming in behind the runner, but McDougal didn't throw. Watch D. Gordon come in behind second base right there. Looked like he was expecting a pickoff attempt. Stauffer has to bunt the ball to the third base side and get Hairston to field it.
Bunts it right back to McDougal. His play will be at first. Ellis covering. That's the first out of the 3rd inning. So 2 runners in scoring position now in the top of the lineup. Cameron Maben batting against McDougal. As good as Maben was last year, he wasn't exceedingly successful driving in runs, just 40 RBI on the year. Ball one to Maben. Maben was a high school kid growing up in North Carolina. Was drafted in the first round by the Tigers, and a year and a half later, he's in the big leagues. Just one full year of minor league baseball before he made his big league debut.
Which was rushing him. Wasn't ready.
And he spent all of 2006 playing in the Midwest League, the West Michigan Whitecaps. And then in 2007, he was in the big leagues for 24 games. Hit just 143. Here comes Ken Howell. Ken Howell is the acting pitching coach today. Normally he is the bullpen coach, but he's taking Rick Honeycutt's job today because Rick Honeycutt is on one of the backfields looking at Ted Lilly, who's getting his work in against some Indians minor leaguers.
They do that so much more these days than they used to. If you were a minor leaguer in camp trying to fight your way to the top, rarely did you go play a minor league game against somebody and bump into Ted Lilly pitching against you that day.
2-0. 3-0 now. There's a base open at first, but I can't imagine you'd be interested in walking Maben to load the bases up for Orlando Hudson. Rondal at third, Cabrera at second. And on 4 pitches, Maben works the walk. So, Steve, we saw Jamie Wright go 6 up and 6 down in his 2 innings of work. And now McDougal, 2 walks, base hit. The only out he's recorded was on a sacrifice by the pitcher.
You know, Wright's an interesting situation, trying to force his way into a job maybe out of the bullpen. Talked about him being a starter for a lot of his career, now doing better work late in his career. He's 37 years old. Out of the bullpen, a career record of 85 and 121.
That's 5 consecutive pitches that have missed the strike zone. It's ball 1 to Orlando Hudson.
This is where McDougal just sort of fights himself a little bit. Gets a little bit herky-jerky with the windup. His mechanics get out of whack. And then he can't get the sinker into the strike zone.
There's a good strike, 1-1.
That's a lot of times what a catcher will do is just try to change the pitch. That was a slider right there. So, you know, you're having trouble getting the rhythm with that sinker. Let's throw something different one time and then get you back to it. The guy on second base, Ellis, flashing a lot of signs. See him just hooking that sinker, just coming over the top of it, hanging onto it too long. It takes away the action of it and doesn't let you throw the ball location-wise where you want to.
Bases full of Padres. 2 balls, 1 strike to Hudson. 2-2.
Sometimes you can almost compare it to golf a little bit. If you're a golfer out there and you feel like you take a swing where you came over the top of the ball. It's sort of the same thing that McDougal's doing right now, trying to get the feel for that sinker.
A little bit high. Counts full. 3-2. McDougal's already walked a pair here in this 3rd inning. He's in danger of walking in a run. Hudson stays alive.
May have helped him out on that one too.
Orlando Hudson, now 34 years of age, came up originally with the Blue Jays. He's also seen time with the Diamondbacks. Told you about the Dodgers in '09. Won a Gold Glove with the Dodgers. 2010, he's with Minnesota, and last year his first with San Diego. 3-2. Hard, right to James Loney. The second for 1. McDougal covers first, and a double play. 3-6 one on the double play. Mike McDougal was all over the board, but he gets out of the inning unscathed. Home half of the third. When we come back, Dodgers and Padres scoreless. Of Dodger Stadium, presented by State Farm with the Dodger Stadium Greats Bobblehead Series mini plan. It includes all 10 bobblehead games featuring Dodger players and personalities like Sandy Koufax and Vince Scully. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/mini-plans or call 323-224-1365 today. It's kind of cool, Steve.
It is.
How about this?
Any way to get you out to the ballpark.
Mike McDougal getting the rare at bat. We were told that Mike McDougal's a switch hitter. But if he truly is a switch hitter, he should be batting left-handed against Stauffer.
Or maybe he's just confused. I mean, when was the last time he was up there?
I think he's been told not to swing.
Sometimes it's harder for a pitcher to pitch to a guy who clearly won't be swinging the bat.
I think it's a good chance this is his first at bat as a big leaguer. He's only started 3 games in his life. The last time he started at the big league level was 2001 with Kansas City, an American League team. Ever since, he's been exclusively a reliever, and according to the Dodger media guide, he has no plate appearances. And he still has never swung a bat in a professional game. He didn't take the bat off the shoulder there. Second strikeout now for Tim Stauffer, 1 out here in inning number 3.
Dodger fans this year certainly are not going to want to go get a hot dog or make a trip to the men's room or do any of that kind of stuff when the top of the order is hitting.
Ooh, little push bunt, third base side, and unable to make the play is Darnell. Infield single for D. Gordon.
D. Gordon and Matt Kemp are going to be 2 of the most exciting players in the National League this year. And I love the fact that D. Gordon is working on the bunting, does it every morning. This isn't a great bunt, and you still have no chance of throwing him out. Even if you pick that ball up, you're safe because he runs too well. It's a good placement for that bunt, but maybe bunted a little bit too hard. It doesn't matter because a guy like Gordon doesn't have to be perfect.
So a 2-for-2 day for D. Remember, he had 3 hits yesterday. Now has 5 hits in his last 6 at-bats. Stole a base back in the first inning, was stranded at second. Now Tim Stauffer, very aware of D. Gordon, throws over to first. One out, Mark Ellis, the batter. Mark flied out to right field in the first inning. Jumps back from a pitch inside. 1-0.
Davey Lopes talking to one of his prized pupils right there as far as getting jumps, reading pitchers, and stealing bases.
D bluffs, doesn't go. Pitch misses again. 2-0. Steve, you played second base quite a bit in your big league career. In terms of playing defensively, everyone always talks about the pitcher and the catcher being frazzled when you have a good base runner. How does it change life for everyone else on the infield defensively?
Well, depending on who's covering the bag there, you have to play a lot closer to the base, especially with a guy like Gordon that can run. You have to make sure that you beat him there. So that changes your defensive positioning. And you can see how much closer, a lot of guys playing second base are going to be all the way out on the cutout of the grass, not necessarily in double play positioning. But with a guy with speed, you have to even cut that down even more. And then on top of which, you hurry everything. And the natural tendency is that you have to do everything faster. That's not a good way to play the game. You hurry, you make mistakes. Old saying that someone used to say to me all the time, be quick, but don't hurry.
Two balls and a strike to Mark Ellis. Dodgers and Padres scoreless. Dodgers have 3 hits. Single by Gordon in the first, single by Gordon in the third. Also got a double by Jerry Hairston in the second. Ellis down the left field line. Sinking and making the play is Jesus Guzman. Ball just hung up in the air, and that's now 2 outs here in the third.
Mark Ellis is going to have to give up his at-bats in this order for D. Gordon all season long. Ellis really didn't want to have to swing the bat in that case. He wanted to give D. Gordon enough opportunities to try to steal second base so that when Ellis decided to put the ball in play, Gordon would already be on second. D couldn't get a jump. For whatever reason, didn't go. And Ellis had to sacrifice his at-bat almost.
Is there ever a situation where you want D. Gordon to run now with 2 outs and Matt Kemp batting?
Yeah, I don't mind him running. I mean, I think D. Gordon, as we talked about before, is such an elite base stealer that you don't hold on to him just because Matt Kemp, he's going to hit 40 home runs a year, but he's also going to hit a lot more doubles and singles. So I'd just soon have Gordon on second base when he hits a single.
There's a strike. Matt struck out looking his first time up.
Clearly the drawback that you're talking about is if he gets thrown out, Matt's home run turns, would have been a 2-run shot instead of solo home run. Greater propensity for him to hit a single than a home run. So I want Gordon stealing if he can get the jump.
A pitch out, nothing doing. 1-1. In my opinion, I actually like a running situation here with Gordon at first base and 2 outs, because if he's successful, great, takes a single to knock him in. If he's out, you've got Kemp leading things off the next inning, and Kemp can play small ball just like D. Gordon can. You walk him and gets a single, he's just as apt to steal second as D. Gordon.
You see that very often right there, back-to-back pitch outs.
Particularly with a hitter like Matt Kemp batting.
Right, who has the speed as well.
Well, you just gave him 2 free balls right there, so now you figure that Stauffer's got to come into him.
And if I'm Gordon, I'm stealing on this pitch right here. Stauffer did a good job of just holding the ball.
Not running. And Kemp fouls it into the Dodger dugout.
Really a nice job by Stauffer there, holding on to D. Gordon at first. He held the ball for a long time. What that does is it's really tough for a base stealer to keep his concentration and his alertness of when to go when the pitcher continues to hold the ball. You lose it. And then on the next pitch, Stauffer went very quick, almost quick pitched.
High pop-up into right field. Denorfia looking up into that high sky, makes the play, and the side is retired. 3rd consecutive inning, the Dodgers have stranded a runner on the base paths. 3rd of the way home. 4th inning is next. Padres and Dodgers Zip, zip. Ranch Glendale, top of the 4th inning. Padres and Dodgers, no score. It's nice to see the umbrellas out for the sun, not the rain. That was over the weekend. Really nasty weekend here in the Phoenix area, but just a gorgeous day today.
And the Dodger hair.
New pitcher for the Dodgers, third pitcher, only in the 4th inning. Scott Rice comes out of the pen. He has been unscored upon so far this spring.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's had an amazing spring so far. 4 innings he's pitched, struck out 5 in those 4 innings. Opposing hitters are hitting a .143. And he's an interesting case because he's 30 years old. He's played 13 seasons of professional baseball and not one day at the major league level.
First man he faces here in the 4th inning is Jesus Guzman, who swings and misses 0-1. Guzman, Alonso, and Denorfia, the scheduled batters. Here in the Padre 4th. Pitches low, 1-1.
Rice is trying to make an impression here, show Don Mattingly that he can be a lefty out of the pen that can get people out.
Lifted into center field. That's going to be a base hit, leading things off. Solid single for Guzman. So second straight inning in which the leadoff man has gotten aboard against the Dodger reliever. How about the eventful day for Mike McDougal? He pitches 1 inning. He walks 2, gave up a hit, had the bases loaded and 1 out, but gets out of it with a double play ball turned behind him, 3-6-1. And then he bats for one of the rare times in his professional career, doesn't swing the bat, strikes out looking, and then he's lifted. So a full day's work with all these firsts and different oddities, and it all happened in 1 inning for McDougal, and now he's somewhere over in the other building, just probably taking a shower. Bouncing ball, Alonso hits it to Ellis, and he's going to get the lead man out at second. Return throw to first, not in time. It was a very aggressive play by Ellis and Gordon to try and turn 2.
Well, they figured maybe Alonso doesn't have the greatest speed lumbering down that first base line. First base umpire thought about ringing him up and then called him safe. He'll take another look at it. The reason why this play takes such a long time to set up is because Ellis had so far to go get it. Tried to turn it over. James Loney tried to cheat over there just a little bit, tried to steal the call. Didn't work out. Nice play, though.
4-6 on the fielder's choice. Alonso replacing Guzman on at first. Here's Chris Denorfia. Flat out to center field his first time up. This is a double play ball. Not going to get any easier than that. 6-3 on the twin kill. Second straight inning in which the Dodger defense has turned a double play to end the frame. Home half of the fourth. Dodger Stadium has been an iconic Los Angeles landmark. In 2012 marks its 50th anniversary. Saturday, April 14th, you can take home a piece of history with your very own Dodger Stadium replica commemorating opening day 1962, presented by State Farm. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions today. A lot of fun things going on this season. Should be a great year. Dodgers beginning the season against these San Diego Padres. Those games are going to be down at Petco Park. And the Dodgers going to come home for 3 against the Pirates April 10th, 11th, 12th. And 3 against the Padres again at Dodger Stadium.
You got to like the way the season starts off for the Dodgers. Certainly not counting any chickens before they're hatched. But bottom line, if you think the Padres are a team that are semi-rebuilding, play a lot of games against them early on, games against the Pirates, teams that you should beat, games against the Houston Astros, that's a team that the Dodgers should beat. Their first 25 games, they could come out of that with a pretty darn good record, over 500.
And we've talked about this before, but I think a real great sign for the Dodgers earlier in the year is I don't see any cold weather games. I think that makes such a difference. You play down here in Arizona for a month and everyone gets all fine-tuned and they know what's going on, and you're playing under the sun. And then you start against Pittsburgh and it's raining sideways. And you go to Chicago at Wrigley Field and you're playing with earmuffs on and hand warmers. None of that this year.
Well, there's no question that it makes a difference. And just speaking from my own personal experience, my home teams, Boston and Chicago. One year I opened the season with the Atlanta Braves and it was 85 degrees on opening day. You play in the Northeast, Boston, New York, Baltimore, you have a jacket on until June 3rd. You're freezing.
Here's Tony Gwynn Jr. He popped out to short his first time up. 2 outs, bases clear. Tim Stauffer is now retired 4 Dodgers in a row. Should tell you there's a new second baseman in the game. Andy Perino replacing Orlando Hudson last inning.
I think Hudson, before he bounced into the double play, fouled the ball off his foot. I think that's one of the reasons why he's not continuing on.
0-1 to Gwynn. Checks his swing. 1-1. Dodger road games in the month of April. Just down the road in San Diego. It's going to be warm. In Milwaukee, but remember they have a dome, so it's not going to be too bad. And then down in Houston. I guess the final game of April, April 30th, is in Denver against the Rockies. And you don't know what you're going to get there. but I'll take my chances with that April. I remember a couple of years ago, the Dodgers beginning the season on the road, and it just, in cold weather on the road, I just think it makes a huge difference with the quality of baseball you're playing. It's not necessarily the best team that's winning. It's the team that can survive the elements the best that wins. All right, a quick 1-2-3 inning. To the fifth we go. 0-0, Padres and Dodgers. Dodgers once again going to the bullpen. Todd Coffey making the appearance.
Todd Coffey's going to make a big difference on this ball club, and you see his customary sprint in from the bullpen. He stopped short there today.
He did stop short.
He usually goes straight to the mound in a big hurry, all the way from the bullpen, sprinting in. I just think that one of the reasons why they got this guy is because he can get guys out in those late innings, a 6th, 7th, 8th type of an inning pitcher. And he's also just a lot of fun. Always got a smile on his face, happy, loves to joke around with his teammates, and the Dodgers needed another guy like that.
Breaking ball, strike one to the third baseman, James Darnell. Darnell, Grandal, and Cabrera scheduled to bat here in the 5th inning. Padres have 2 base hits so far. A single by Cabrera and a single by Guzman. That's it. They worked a couple of walks, but for the most part, Dodger pitching has been really good. Leadoff single for Darnell here in the 5th inning.
Just the 4th hit of spring training that Coffey has given up, holding opposing hitters to about a .230 average.
Catcher number 12. Grandal.
So Grandal will bat. Switch hitter bats from the left side. 23 years of age. As a college player, he was known as a defensive catcher. That's what got him drafted in the 1st round by the Reds. But the Padres are really happy with the way that he swung the bat. They think he's got a chance to be a difference maker as a catcher.
He's had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder about that, too, because it used to be he was a good catch and throw guy, really good defense. Then he started swinging the bat, and everyone said, oh, he's an offensive catcher. That's good. And he's like, well, no, wait a minute. I can do both. I think I'm going to be a pretty good hitter, but don't forget about the fact that I'm a good defender, and that's one of the main reasons why you have a catcher.
He goes to left field. Trent Olchin is checked into the game, and he gets challenged. Makes a nice running catch. 1 out now in the 5th inning. Olchin coming on, replacing Juan Rivera. So the outfield has been totally changed around since the beginning of the game. It's Olchin in left, Gwynn in center, and Jerry Sands in right. The infield remains the same as that started the game. There's Trent Olchin,
the Australian.
Here's the shortstop, Everett Cabrera. He singled his last time up. You mentioned Trent Olchin, the Australian. He expected to go back home this offseason and play winter ball over in Australia. They've restarted their winter baseball program, and he was delighted to go back home and play in his home country. But he did the math, and he just said, you know what, I'm not going to get enough playing time. They only play 3 days a week, and he felt he needed more bats. So instead of playing in Australia, which he told us he was going to do at the end of last season, he spent his winter in Mexico, playing in the Mexican Winter League. But he did find time to get married. That's the big change in his life. He got married in the offseason. Coffey, once again, Steve, you mentioned it a couple of days ago. He looks over his right shoulder when he's keeping tabs on the runner at first.
We're going to have to track him down and ask him why he does that. You would think that you'd have a little bit better view looking over your left shoulder. But watch him turn and look the other way. There he is. And then goes straight into the pitch from there. There are a lot of pitchers who down through time have not picked up the target as quickly as you might think. One of the most notable Dodgers would be Fernando Valenzuela, who looked skyward before he pitched, but it doesn't even look like Coffey's actually looking at the target when he goes to pitch the ball.
With a guy like Todd Coffey, who's done it and been successful at the big league level for as long as he has, when he joins a new team, how much time is there with the coaching staff, Rick Honeycutt, Kenny Howell in the bullpen? How long do they take to figure out what he does well and then adjust to him?
Well, you would think that, part of the reason they got him here is because they knew that he did some things well. As you said, he has a track record. They know who he is when he got here. And then it's a matter of just kind of fine-tuning everything and everybody getting used to each other. But end of the day, 6 weeks of spring training is plenty of time for them to get to know who he is.
3-1, runner on the move, and it's ball 4. So runners at first and at second, just one out here in the 5th inning.
The pitcher, number 46, Tim Stauffer.
And Bud Black is going to keep his pitcher in the game, Tim Stauffer. You'd imagine will be asked to bunt here. He laid down to sacrifice his only other plate appearance. That was back in the 3rd. Dodger pitching now has allowed 3 walks, 3 hits, all of them singles. But the defense has been able to turn 2 double plays.
See what kind of defensive play that the Dodgers are looking at in this bunt situation. Pick off. You'll see more pickoffs and attempts like that in spring training than you ever will during the regular season. This is when you're trying to iron out the details as far as those plays are concerned. See if now maybe you do the pickoff and then you put a wheel play on where D. Gordon will actually cover third base and Hairston and James Loney will crash and try to get the out at third.
Stauffer swinging away, going to get himself a base hit. That's going to drive in a run. Darnell chugging around third. They're going to stop Cabrera. He runs through the stop sign and still scores. There was a blatant stop sign on at third. Cabrera ran right through it, and because the ball got away, he scores.
He would have been out by 20 feet at home right here. A rare mistake by James Loney. Doesn't handle the replay. You see the little slug bunt. This ball's going to get down the line. Jerry Sands is going to pick it up. Well, no, not Jerry Sands. It's Ellis picks it up and throws wildly to James Loney. He can't handle the ball. And Cabrera scores. He would have been out by 20 feet had they just handled that play right.
So they haven't assigned an error. That's just going to be a 2 RBI single for Tim Stauffer. It's not too many times that Tim Stauffer is going to drive in 2 runs, including a runner from first base with a single that goes maybe 20 feet beyond the first base bag.
Remember, Cabrera started that play on first base, so he came all the way around. He ran farther than the ball traveled.
Still just 1 out. This is Cameron Maben. Broken bat. This one is going to fall. So Coffey's getting nickel and dime now. Giving up 3 hits already. Still just 1 out in the 5th inning.
Second baseman, number 3, Andy Marino.
He's not really getting hit hard out there, but once again, just too many balls up in the strike zone and catching too much of the plate.
Steve, I want to go back to that situation. Everett Cabrera's on at first base. The hit by Stauffer, he gets to third with a full head of steam. He's being told by the third base coach to stop, and he runs through it. Now, he scored. Great. You know, the Padres are thrilled about that, but is that really a good move?
No, it's a terrible move. You got Hoffman down there doing his job. He should have held him up. And sometimes the players just come around third and they're oblivious. They don't see it. They don't listen to it. Key to the battle, you're thinking, oh, I want to score, I want to score. I just don't understand why he thought he would be able to score on a play like that. Ball was 20 feet down the right field foul line.
Here's the first at bat for Andy Perino. He came on for Orlando Hudson 2 innings ago. Switch hitter hitting from the left side, takes a big rip, and comes up empty. 1 ball, 1 strike. Padres have won 4 in a row, 7 of their last 8. Now got a record of 10-8 in Cactus League play. The pitcher Stauffer, the runner on at second. The runner on at first is Cameron Maben. Andy Perino is from Western New York. He is from Brockport, New York, not too far away from Buffalo. Played at Lemoyne College, Division II school, the Lemoyne Dolphins. Tom Browning and Jim DeShays at one point played together on the same Lemoyne Dolphin baseball team.
Never even heard of them before, and you're telling me there's 3 big leaguers from there?
1-2, misses inside. Yeah, in total, actually, looking at this, I didn't know it, I'm just looking at it. There have been 7 big leaguers from Lemoyne College. It's right in downtown Syracuse, New York. Now, Syracuse University does not have a baseball team, but Lemoyne does. Line drive, Coffey knocks it down. He's going to go to third. They get the out there.
That's good reaction right there by Coffey to make that play. He fielded his position very well. I want to think that hit on the backside of his glove, like his on the finger side of it. Watch it come right back at him. Knocks it down. The reason why he made that play is because he had made a conscious effort before he threw the pitch to understand where he was going to throw the ball if the ball was hit back to him. That is the biggest decision you have to make as a ball player. Make your decisions before the play happens. The ball gets hit to me, what am I going to do with it? If you wait for it to get hit to you, you're in trouble. Clearly knew exactly what he wanted to do. That's a startling line drive right back at you. Could shake your wits a little bit. Clearly knew exactly what he wanted to do and made the play.
2 outs, 2 runners still on. This is Jesus Guzman, a single his last time up. It's 1 for 2. Into center field. That'll be a base hit. They're going to wave Maben around, and he's going to make it without a throw. Perino on his way to third. He'll make it with a dive. And it's now a 3-0 lead for the Padres. Second hit for Guzman, drives in a run, his 5th RBI of the spring.
Once again, you check location there, ball right down over the middle. Guzman does exactly what you're supposed to do with it, bang it right back up the middle, moving runners over, scoring runs. Still got Coffey in trouble.
So the inning's still going on. Yonder Alonso now the 8th Padre to bat here in the 5th. 0 for 2. He's bounced out to second twice. Lifts this one to left field. Sinking. Here comes Olchin making the play. Side is retired. But the Padres, the first team to break the ice. They scored 3 times. They leave 2 runners on. Home half of the 5th when we come back. 3-0 Pods. Padres putting 3 runs on the board against Todd Coffey here at the top of this 5th inning. Tim Stauffer still on the mound for the Padres, now beginning his 5th inning of work. He's going to face Hairston, A.J. Ellis, and then the pitcher spot. With Steve Lyons, I'm Eric Collins. Dodgers threatened in the 1st inning, a leadoff single by D. Gordon. He stole second, so runner on at second, nobody out. Gordon didn't advance.
Stauffer's getting to the point where this is his 4th start of the spring. He'll probably make 1 more start. They're probably going to try to stretch him out to about 90 pitches today, maybe 100, get over 100 in his next start, and then be ready for the opening day start.
Hairston breaks his bat to the second baseman. Perino throws him out. Hairston now 1 for 2. He doubled his first time up.
Catcher number 17, A.J. Ellis.
That's not a done deal yet that Stauffer is going to be the opening day starter. He did start opening day last year, and he had a decent year last season. And you just look at the names, more than likely Bud Black is going to name Stauffer as his opening day guy. But the rotation is going to consist of Corey Lutke, Dustin Mosley, Edinson Volquez, there's Bud Black, Clayton Richard, left-hander. So the name that jumps off the page is Stauffer, just making 31 starts last year. More than likely he's going to be the guy, but he's not exactly an ace of the Clayton Kershaw category.
Not many are they?
A.J. Ellis takes down low.
I think Derek Lowe was a guy who used to say, every team has a number 1 starter. You have to. Someone gets named. Not every team has an ace.
Swung on and missed, 2-2.
Derek Lowe this year traded off to the Cleveland Indians away from Atlanta.
Yeah, the Indians are thrilled. Braves are picking up the lion's share of his contract. Fly ball right field. Denorfia. 2 down. Nice luxury to have. The Braves think that they just have too many starting pitchers. They didn't have enough innings to justify having Derek Lowe on their roster.
That's too bad, isn't it?
They're paying 2/3 of his salary this year for him not to pitch for them. First at bat today for Jerry Sands.
Well, if you do the even math around his contract, that's about $15 million a year, with the Braves picking up 10 of it. I mean, any way you slice it, Derek Lowe is at least a $5 million a year pitcher.
Well, Stauffer can get Sands out here. He's going to go 5 complete shutout innings. This coming on the heels of a performance last week in which he was hammered. The Angels tuned him up for 11 hits and 5 earned runs in 2 2/3. But today, a totally different day. Tim Stauffer goes 5 shutout innings. He has retired the last 8 Dodgers in order. The 6th inning is next. 3-0 Padres over the Dodgers. Look at that. Glenn Hoffman walking stride for stride with Tommy Lasorda. That was just a moment ago down the third base line.
Hoffman, also a former Dodger manager. Hoffman, an outstanding defensive shortstop. The Boston Red Sox organization was a shortstop that I played with when I was there. I'll tell you what, never made a bad throw. If you were a first baseman, you loved Glenn Hoffman as your shortstop, because every throw hits you right in the chest.
Here's Kenley Jansen coming out of the bullpen. He replaces Todd Coffey. Jansen now the 5th pitcher of the game for the Dodgers. We're just in the 6th inning. First pitch, strike 1 to Chris Denorfia. Fooled him, 0-2. Jansen with historic strikeout numbers last year. Set a big league record for strikeouts per 9 innings of work. Steve, we're going to go from ballpark to ballpark this summer, and I'm going to meet a lot of different people and stump everyone with that.
16.1 per 9. All-time single season record. So far in spring training, you know, the power guys take a little longer to kind of tune things up. He struck out 5 in 4 innings of work so far this spring training. Has not walked a batter. Opponents have hit .214 against him so far this year.
Little tapper. Denorfia stays alive. Ball and 2 strikes. New third baseman right now for the Dodgers. Jerry Hairston is out, replaced by Adam Kennedy. There's Kennedy. Fastball inside, spins him off the plate, 2-2.
Kenley Jansen's given up just 3 hits down here in spring training. 2 of them jumped the yard, though.
Deep to center field. Gwynn going back. It's over his head. Denorfia, a 2-strike double to center field. That ball was hit well to center field, and the leadoff man aboard. That is now the 4th consecutive inning in which the Padres have gotten the leadoff man on.
That ball is a tough ball to hit, too. If Jansen's got his good giddy up on it, Denorfia got on top of that and hit it to dead center field. If that's Jansen's good fastball, it'd be really, really hard to square up. Denorfia got to that one.
Running for the Padres, number 60, Jeudy Valdez. Now batting at
So Denorfia, after the double, he's going to be lifted. Pinch runner now on at second base. It's Jeudy Valdez. So Valdez running for Denorfia at second base, and James Darnell, who singled and scored his last time up, will bat against Jansen. Padres scoring all 3 of their runs in the 5th inning off of Todd Coffey. We saw Jamie Wright begin the game for the Dodgers. He went 6 up and 6 down in his 2 innings of work. We saw Mike McDougal struggle with a couple of walks and a single, but get out of an inning because of a double play ball. Darnell pops it up, foul territory, first base side. Loney makes the play. First out here in the 6th inning. 4th inning was pitched by Scott Rice. He gave up a leadoff single, but got Alonso and Denorfia to ground out. Denorfia hitting into a double play. And then Coffey, he was the one who was touched up for those 3 runs. Defense wasn't great behind him, but he wasn't great himself. 4 base hits and a walk. Those are the 3 runs for the Padres. So 1 out now. Catcher Yasmani Grandal will bat. You've been talking about the last couple of days. You're never going to see more pickoffs at second base than in a spring training game.
I think D. Gordon's having fun with it out there, putting signs on, putting plays on, bouncing around, seeing if he can catch somebody sleeping.
Is that D calling that, or is that the catcher?
Usually D.
First pitch fastball misses down low.
A lot of times it's not necessarily a sign. Usually a pitcher and a shortstop can have a sign together that if I do this, I want to put something on. But a lot of times it's called daylight. When D. Gordon sneaks in behind the runner and Kenley Jansen can see daylight between the 2 of them, he's supposed to turn and throw the ball.
Softly hit right side. Loney showing off some range. Underhand flip. Jansen over there in time. There are now 2 outs. Moving to third goes Valdez. All right, Steve, a guy like Kenley Jansen, who had his big breakout season a year ago, coming into this year, spring training, his mindset, is it coming up with a new wrinkle, reinventing himself, or is it just simply trying to figure out a way to figure out how to keep on keeping on from what he did last year?
I think he's got the biggest challenge for him is to go out and do the same thing he did last year, which is difficult. When you ask guys like Kemp and Kershaw and Kenley Jansen to go out and have the same year you had last year, that's setting the bar pretty high. I think that he continues to work on secondary pitches. I think he wants to come up with some type of a changeup. But he was funny. We do a segment on Prime Ticket, a lot of times a pre or post game show or Dodgers Weekly, where we ask the pitcher to tell us what their grips are. that they throw. And Kenley Jansen grabbed the ball and he goes, first pitch I have is my fastball. Second pitch, and this is how I hold it. Second pitch I have is my fastball. And if I get in any trouble, I go to my fastball. So a little bit of humor and a little bit of devastation when he throws that fastball too.
There's that fastball, pours it over for a strike. He's got Cabrera set up, 0-2.
We don't have the luxury today of a radar gun to let us know just how hard Kenley is throwing, but I don't think he's anywhere near mid-season form yet. As I said, I think the power guys are the guys that take the longest to round into shape. A lot of arm strength that you have to build up.
Ball and 2 strikes to Cabrera. Perfect day for Cabrera, a single and a walk. Scored a run his last time up. Tardy on that one, fouls it off the facing of the Dodger dugout. And this would be an absolute stunner. Next scheduled hitter, Tim Stauffer. He's already worked 5 shutout innings. Does he stay in and get his 3rd plate appearance?
He hasn't had to work that hard to mow through the Dodgers lineup today.
1-2. Kenley Jansen in his brief big league career, 80 2/3 innings. He has struck out 137. Just incredible. So if you do the math there, 80 2/3 innings, that's 242 outs recorded in his big league career. Of those 242 outs, 137 of them have been via the strikeout.
And last year was pretty much, he'd come in and pitch an inning, he'd strike out 2 guys.
This should end the inning. Loney makes it look so smooth. Underhand toss, and Jansen where he's supposed to be. Padres strand a man at third. Kenley Jansen does his job, working around the leadoff double. Padres still on top of the Dodgers, 3-0. Home after the 6th when we return. Fantastic. He has gone 5 shutout innings, and believe it or not, this is somewhat unusual. He's going to begin his 6th inning of work. Working on that shutout. He's given up just 3 hits to the Dodgers, 2 of them by D. Gordon. Jerry Hairston, a 2-out double in the 2nd inning, but for the most part, the Dodgers have been quiet. 8 straight have been retired. The last base runner is that man right there, D. Gordon, who will lead things off here in the 6th.
I think what Darren Balsley, the pitching coach for the San Diego Padres, is looking for is, how hard is Stauffer working out there? And he really isn't working that hard. Usually the opposing pitchers will tell you how you're looking.
Nice backhanded play. Alonso flips to the pitcher covering, and Gordon retired for the first time today. Yonder Alonso showing something down there at first.
Yeah, and Stauffer does such a great job of getting over here so quickly, because you know how quick D. Gordon's going to get down the line.
Well, that was one of the big questions for the Padres, is Alonso at first base. They think he's going to be able to hit enough, but defensively, they're used to having really good glove men over there with Adrian Gonzalez over the years. They just didn't know what Alonso would be able to do. Last year, he actually tried to play a little bit of third base with the Reds. They saw him out in left field because he was blocked by Joey Votto at first, but showing you that he's got a chance to be a pretty good first baseman with a play like that. Here's Mark Ellis.
The Padres with Stauffer, they're looking at how quickly he's moving through these innings and how many pitches he's thrown to this point. Easy to let you go back out there and work more when you've made it this easy.
Stauffer's probably thrilled to be getting the work. He had some bad muscle memory. His last time out, he was hammered by the Angels. Didn't make it out of the third inning. 1-2 to Ellis. Right back to Stauffer. So the first out of the inning went 3-1. This out recorded 1-3. 2 outs, bases clear.
Left fielder number 49, Trent Olson.
There's the first at bat today for Trent Olson. Came on defensively 2 innings ago.
Olson very quietly is having a nice spring for himself once again. His 27th at bat. He's got 9 hits on the spring training schedule here. Driven in 4. It's been a really nice AAA insurance policy in the outfield for Ned Colletti and the Dodgers. Runs really well, can play any outfield position.
Swung on and missed. Oh, one thing, if you take a look at the numbers from Olson this spring, he's struck out 10 times in 26 at bats.
The rest of them are hits. It seems like it's been an all or nothing guy.
Yeah, so if you break out one of your favorite stats, batting average of balls in play.
Oh, he's on fire.
Oh, yeah. Well over 500. There's a strike. Ball and 2 strikes. I think there's a lot of value with a guy like Olson who can run well, bats left-handed, defensively. He can get the job done at all 3 outfield spots. Broken bat, right back to the pitcher. So how about that? Stauffer, a 1-2-3 inning. He gets 2 assists, also gets a putout. Really, the only 3 people you needed defensively that inning were the pitcher, the first baseman, and the catcher. Dodgers still shut out through 6. Sixth pitcher of the afternoon for Don Mattingly's Dodgers, John Grabo, coming out of the bullpen. Will pitch this seventh inning.
And moving to second, Adam Kennedy.
Last time out, he allowed one hit and no runs. That was Sunday against the Angels. This guy's been around for a long time now. 33 years old. Played with the Pirates, the Cubs. Really struggled over his last few seasons with the ERA numbers jumping up around 7. Trying to make an impact as a lefty out of the bullpen again for Don Mattingly. He has his choices out there. He's got some candidates that are fighting for those jobs. We've seen a few of those today in Rice and Grabo.
You know, Tim Stauffer is now out of the game. Pinch hit for by Jeremy Hermida, former first-round pick of the Florida Marlins. They thought that this guy was going to be just a phenomenal right fielder for them for a long time, and he's just never done it.
It's amazing how guys start to bounce around. Different organizations.
Hermida was given every opportunity in the world to make it with the Marlins. Never happened for him. He's since been with Boston, Oakland, the Reds. Last year picked up off of waivers and getting into 20 games for the Padres, hitting .225. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hermida. But he's left-handed, still just 28 years of age. Still getting opportunities. Should mention there's a new catcher in the game for the Dodgers. Josh Bard has replaced A.J. Ellis. So it's a battery of Grabo and Bard. A couple of veterans trying to make a team. Three balls, 2 strikes. Inside. And that's going to be Hermida heading down to first. Technically not a walk. I think he was grazed on the shoulder with the pitch. So that's a hit batsman. And for the 5th consecutive inning, the leadoff man has reached safely for the Padres. Well, join the Dodgers for what is sure to be an eventful 2012 season with the largest promotional schedule ever and the lowest ticket prices in years. They guarantee your tickets to opening day and Koufax and Scully bobblehead nights. Purchase season tickets or select mini plans today. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/tickets.
Dodgers been playing with fire all game long. Really, it hurt him in the 5th inning. But 5th inning was one of those innings where the leadoff guy got on. If you do that consistently, the other team's going to score too many runs.
Here's Jeff Decker. Decker takes a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1. Decker was taken in the supplemental round between the 1st and the 2nd round back in 2008. It's a local kid, born and raised here in Phoenix, supposed to just be a tremendous line drive hitter, but he hadn't really done it so far. Hit .236 playing Double-A baseball last year down in San Antonio. Did have 19 home runs, but when he was coming out of high school, he was considered by many to be one of the top 5 amateur hitters in the country. And he's got an interesting spelling of his first name. It's J-A-F-F, but it's pronounced Jeff.
Bunch of different ways to spell Jeff, isn't there? Seems like it would be pretty straightforward.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
I didn't know they still had that supplemental draft between rounds anymore.
Yeah, it's compensation for free agents that have left.
What the Padres to do today, wearing a little bit different color. Looks a little more of a silver trim on the blue shirts instead of that color that I've publicly berated for so many years. It looks like bad oatmeal. I didn't even know that was a color.
Lifted out of play. We'll do it again, 3-2.
Now they're going with kind of a nice silvery tone to the Padre letters on the uniforms with the numbers and the name on their back. Padres have gone through an array of uniforms way back when Ray Kroc owned the team, and they had McDonald's colors, brown and yellow and orange.
Walk is issued, so the first two men reach against Graybo. Hit batsman and now a walk. So runners at first and at second, nobody out. And the Dodger infield all looking towards the third base dugout to get their instructions, because a lot of different things can happen.
This is the kind of thing that you just can't do if you're a lefty trying to make this club out of the bullpen. The one thing you have to do, throw strikes, make the guys put the ball in play. You can't put yourself in a situation with nobody out, two guys on this late in the game.
Perino shows bunt. That's a fair ball. It should be a double play. Well, time is called. Home plate umpire. I thought the signal was that it was a fair ball, but instead it's a dead ball, and both runners will have to go back.
Josh Bard trying to jump up out of that crouching position and get that ball while it was still in fair territory. It's a tough thing to do, because usually when a guy bunts the ball like that, and if he's bunted the ball poorly, it has so much spin on it, the natural spin on the ball wants to take it foul.
Oh, 1.
Ooh, look at it. You know, it's odd. So far today, we've seen a lot of bunt situations, and we have not seen the Dodgers use the wheel play to try to get the force at third. That's where both corner infielders will crash. You have the shortstop leave his position early to go cover third base. We haven't seen that one all day.
There's a strike. 1-2 now.
Given the fact that the Dodgers are already losing in this game 3-0, seems like it would lend itself to have that play put on so that you could get the out at third base and then potentially get a double play ball to end the inning.
Last call, cold beer.
Ball skips in the dirt, blocked nicely by Bard. Count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Defensively, Josh Fields is now playing at third for Don Mattingly. Shortstop is Luis Cruz, so D. Gordon has been lifted. Saw Adam Kennedy over at third for a couple of innings. He's now playing at second. There's Josh Fields. So the only remaining starter still in the game in the infield is James Loney over at first.
He did that last time we had a broadcast. He was the last guy to hang in there.
Swing and a miss. Graybo strikes out Perino for the first out here in the 7th.
Big out right there. He threw a nice changeup earlier in the count. Now this is a breaking ball down. Oh, who throws a breaking ball like that? Maybe about 8 to 9 mile an hour faster, but that was reminiscent of the Clayton Kershaw hard slider down and in. Possible to hit.
So John Graybo does something that no other Dodger pitcher has done so far today. And we've had 5 other Dodger pitchers. He gets a strikeout. Jed Jerko is going to bat now, former West Virginia Mountaineer. He and his brothers are legends over there in the Appalachian Mountains. His brother was a middle linebacker, played football for the Mountaineers, and Jed holds virtually every offensive record for the baseball team at University of West Virginia. How about that, Steve?
How does he spell his first name, though?
Jed, I think is there 2 D's or 1 D? 2 D's, J-E-D-D.
See, there you go.
And it's Jerko, but it's spelled G-Y-O-R-K-O.
Is Jed's first name Jedediah? That may account for.
Oh, there's a latch. Should be a double play. Cruz flips it over to Kennedy covering, and the Dodgers have now turned 3 double plays to get themselves out of innings. Could have been really ugly, but instead, Padres can't score. Time to stand up and stretch it out. Dodgers down by 3. Dodgers by a score of 3-0. Another beautiful day here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale, and nice defensive play to end the top of the 7th inning.
Well, at the outset of this game, we asked the Dodger pitching staff to use their defense, and they've been doing that. This could be an ugly game had the 3 double plays not been turned. Dodgers still getting beaten this one 3-0, but they have a chance to come back, mainly because of the stellar defense, especially in the infield today.
You know, the Dodgers are going to have to get the bats moving pretty quickly. They have done a whole bunch of nothing since the 3rd inning. They have, the last 11 have been retired in order. That was against Tim Stauffer. Stauffer has now been lifted. He goes 6 shutout innings. New pitcher is going to be Alex Hinshaw, former Aztec of San Diego State. He's going to face James Loney to lead things off.
The reason why Loney was still in the ball game, obviously, to get this extra at bat. He'll probably take a seat. If he gets a base hit, might even pinch run for him.
There's a good strike, 0-2 to Loney. James so far today has lined out to center field. He's also bounced out to the pitcher Stauffer.
Hinshaw making his game team leading 7th appearance in the spring for the Padres. And
swung on and missed. Hinshaw strikes out Loney on 3 pitches.
I'll tell you what, that was some nasty stuff that he had right there. This is going to drop down and away from James Loney. It gave Don Mattingly another opportunity to see James against a left-handed pitcher. Both Loney and Ether have struggled in the last couple seasons against lefties. So much so that Mattingly has toyed with the idea of sitting either one or both of them out of the lineup against a lefty.
Here's Adam Kennedy, his first at bat. Humpback liner to the shortstop. Valdez with the squeeze. 1 pitch, 1 out. Hinshaw doing his job here in the 7th inning.
You know, Eric, the problem that I see with that philosophy, which isn't a bad one, if your lefт-handed hitters, even if they're your star players, aren't going to hit left-handed pitching, that's fine. But you need to find someone that can fill their shoes and do a job. And in my way of thinking, that was supposed to be Jerry Sands. Jerry Sands has just had a tough spring, not swinging the bat the way they'd hope he would. And, you know, in my opinion right now, Jerry Sands may be playing his way off of this ball club.
Another lefty-lefty matchup. This is Tony Gwynn Jr. takes called strike 1.
I think Jerry's one of those guys that just everybody roots for. You want him to play well. You want him to do well. He's such a likable guy, and he's got a tremendous amount of talent. He's going through a period of time in his career right now where he's completely overhauling his swing, and it's not feeling very comfortable for him right now.
Well, that snaps a streak of 13 consecutive batters retired. Tony Gwynn looping a 2-out single to center field. So Hinshaw will now work with the runner on at first base. And the veteran power guy, Josh Fields, grabs bats for the first time. Steve, you talk about love affairs. How much did the San Francisco Giants love Alex Hinshaw? They drafted him 3 separate times. For a while, it was unrequited love. 2000 out of high school, Hinshaw was drafted by the Giants, didn't sign. 2002, coming out of junior college, he was drafted by the Giants, 29th round, didn't sign. He was actually drafted by the Marlins in 2003 after his first year at San Diego State, didn't sign. The 4th time that he was drafted, this time again by the Giants, 15th round in 2005, finally decided to begin his pro career. Foul ball back to the screen. Did make it to the big leagues, parts of 2 different seasons with the Giants, 08 and 09. But that's, there's some belief in your ability to get drafted 3 different times and say no each time.
That was like the big left-handed pitcher that the Dodgers had, Hendrickson. I can't remember his.
Mark Hendrickson.
Mark
yes.
Hendrickson got drafted 7 times before he signed. I don't know that I've ever had an unrequited love before. I don't know that I've ever heard that word before. I learn something new with you every day.
Got to read your Shakespeare.
Yeah, there's so many kids. I mean, that's in direct contrast to Todd Coffey, who pitched earlier in his game, where the Reds drafted him and literally told him they didn't even want to sign him. He said, no, I'm signing. They had to make him an offer. He said, I'll take it.
Swing and a miss. Josh Fields strikes out on 3 pitches. Nice performance. Alex Hinshaw out of the pen for the 7th inning. The shutout continues. Dodgers running out of time. 3-0 Padres. The 8th is next. Top of the 8th inning, Dodgers once again going to go to the bullpen. Ronald Belisario is going to come on. So far we have seen Jamie Wright, Mike McDougall, Scott Rice, Todd Coffey, Kenley Jansen, John Grabo, and now Belisario, the veteran out of Venezuela.
Belisario making his 4th appearance here so far in spring training. He's working on getting that ERA down out of the clouds. It's at 9 right now, but you know, as those relief pitchers, boy, you have one bad outing and the thing can skyrocket. 3 innings pitched, 5 hits so far in spring training.
First man to face will be Matt Clark. Clark came on defensively an inning ago, replacing Yonder Alonso over at first base. Clark is a California guy, but played his college baseball in the SEC at LSU. Glad to have you along for the ride. You're watching Camelback Vision, Dodgers Spring Training Baseball, live from Camelback Ranch here in Glendale, Arizona.
This is a Chamber of Commerce day right here. It cannot get better. Little fewer people in the stands than we've seen over the last week or so that we're here, but it is midweek. I think for a lot of people, spring break is over. Some of it is just starting. See some kids out there in the outfield grass and having fun, but boy, we have seen some packed houses in this place.
The shortstop, number 60,
Luis Cruz throws out Clark for the first out here in the 8th inning.
Good look at Camelback Ranch. Still time to come out and enjoy some spring training baseball. You're about 5 hours away if you pile the kids in the car and jump out for a day or two.
Here's Valdez, his first at bat. Taking a look at the Dodgers' upcoming schedule, and a whole lot of nothing going on tomorrow. An off day. That's rare in the month of March. Normally something's going on at all times, but everyone getting the day off. Only players who have to come in are the guys getting treatment and going through their programs.
Everybody else will either be golfing or fishing for manatee.
Swung on and missed on 3 pitches. Belisario strikes out Valdez. That is now 2 strikeouts for the Dodger pitching staff today.
Well, Ronald Belisario still has a good arm. He's got good stuff. I think it's well known the problems, the issues that he's had. He'll have to face a 50-game suspension when he comes back to the big leagues. But this is a guy that the organization doesn't want to give up on as a pitcher or a man, and giving him every opportunity to correct his life and get back into the big leagues.
Here's the catcher, Brad Davis, his first at bat. Mission Viejo. Played at Long Beach State. Swung on and missed, 1-1. Davis does have a little bit of big league time 2 years ago, playing with the Marlins for 33 games. More than likely he is ticketed to AAA. Nick Hundley and John Baker expected to be the catchers on Bud Black's roster this year.
Well, with all the work you do in the Big Ten Network and the college football and basketball and everything, you're a college master. Is there a better nickname in all of college nicknames than the Dirtbags?
That's pretty good.
Technically not their official nickname. Only the baseball team is nicknamed the Dirtbags. I believe they're the 49ers otherwise, are they not?
Yes, they are.
49ers down at Long Beach State. What I understand, so many years ago when their baseball program really wasn't up to par, they played in this crummy little stadium with no grass. It was a skin infield. And coach said, I just have a bunch of dirtbags on my team, and it's stuck. People will show up down at Long Beach just to get themselves a Long Beach baseball dirtbag shirt, just to have it as a souvenir. That's a good one.
So, Psycho, you're telling me that nicknames sometimes stick?
Never.
2 balls and 2 strikes to the catcher, Davis. Chopped at the plate off the front leg of Davis.
So in all your travels, what are the most intriguing nicknames that you've come across?
Anteater's not bad.
Yeah, the Aardvarks. Is that Chapman?
Well, you got the Irvine.
Irvine. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, that's not bad.
There's some great minor league nicknames out there now. Some independent teams.
Called strike 3. Belisario out of the bullpen, faces 3 men, gets a ground ball out and a couple of strikeouts. Not bad. Dodgers trailing the Padres 3-0. Home half of the 8th in a moment. 4 hits, 3 singles, and a double. They trail the Padres by a score of 3-0. Home half of the 8th inning with Steve Lyons. I'm Eric Collins. New pitcher, third pitcher of the afternoon, Micah Owens, veteran right-hander, in his first go-around with the Padres.
Micah Owens last year really had his best season ever returning to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He went 8-0 with them last year after a call-up midway through the season. He made 33 appearances, and you say, you know, he pitched a lot out of the bullpen. He only made 4 starts, and so you think, well, he was a vulture, and he got all those wins out of the bullpen after his team came back and scored him 15 runs. But he actually won. Was 3-0 as a starter, so won 3 of the 4 starts that he made, and the other 5 wins were out of the bullpen. So good for him, because he's always been noted as a better hitter than he was a pitcher.
Career big league average of .286 with 9 homers and 203 big league at-bats. Here's Luis Cruz, his first at-bat. Hits it sharply to the right side, fielded by Perino. And that's 1 out here in the 8th inning. Since the 3rd inning, D. Gordon had a 1-out single in that 3rd inning. Since that time, the Dodgers have had 1 base runner. Tony Gwynn Jr., a 2-out single in the 7th. That's it. And it's not like they've been having the bat knocked out of their hands. A grand total of 4 strikeouts by the 3 Padre pitchers.
If you remember setting the tone of this game when Gordon was on second base with nobody out and they didn't score him. So you take a look at the new stance of Jerry Sands. They're trying to mess with it a little bit, but you know, even Don Mattingly, when I talk to him, he says, well, he looks a little too spread out. You see how wide it is. Doesn't want to make much of a movement to the ball, so let the ball travel as far as he can and see it all the way. Kind of pick the foot up and put it back down. Trey Hillman right there talking to Donnie about it. You can get too spread out where you lock yourself up and can't really make an aggressive move to the ball.
Steve, how much say does Jerry Sands have in his stance and the way his approach in the batter's box? It's his career, but if Don Mattingly and the coaching staff, Dave Hansen, the hitting coach, if they say, you know what, we'd like you to spread out in the box, we want you to open your stance, can you say no?
Well, you know, you can say no if you have results, but the fact is he hasn't really had any results at the major league level. He's struggling right here this spring as well. Really trying to find himself at the plate right now. He's just a better athlete and better player than what he's showing right now. That's filthy right there. That's what happens to you when you're going bad. You're trying to battle, and then some guy breaks a pitch off like that on you that's unhittable, and you go sit down again.
Now, last inning, we were talking about unrequited love. Here is the Bard. Josh Bard coming on and swinging for the first time. Swings at the first pitch, and it's poetic justice. He flies out to right field. Side retired, a 1-2-3 8th inning. Dodgers running out of time. Only 3 outs to play with. 3-0 Padres. Don Mattingly proving that he does have a sense of humor. Decides to, for inning number 9, he brings in Fernando Nieve. So Nieve will pitch the 9th inning. Dodgers trailing the Padres 3-0.
I'll let you slide on that one. That's close enough.
Pitcher for the Dodgers, number 62, Fernando Nieve.
Nieve making his 5th appearance of the year. A lot of guys out there in that bullpen trying to make an impact, trying to get Don Mattingly to step up and take notice of what they might be able to do either right now and go west with the ball club or in the future. There's a lot of guys. Javi Guerra did a great job last year of making a really nice impression during spring training so that when the Dodgers had a need, he was one of the first guys they went to. See what Guerra has been able to do, turn himself into the closer of this ball club with a nice future.
Nieve delivers the 0-1. This is Micah Owings. And Owings flips it out of play. In the spring training games, you wouldn't see a pitcher batting this late in the game, but there's a strategic advantage to this. Bud Black knowing that one of his better hitters off the bench is going to be Micah Owings. So you got to get him tuned up.
Made one pinch hit appearance last year in the short time that he was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And that's not a rarity for him. Been able to grab the bat and pinch hit at different times. Got to tell you though, if I was an everyday player and Mike Owings was on my team and he got the pinch hit before me, I don't know how well that would sit.
Owings with 9 big league home runs. Played his college baseball at both Georgia Tech, teammates with Mark Teixeira, and Tulane. So we know he's a pretty smart guy. Those are really good academic schools. 1-2. Outside 2-2. Well, Fernando Nieve, he has been to the big leagues with both the Astros and the Mets, but last year he played his professional baseball over in Korea. Down low, count goes full, 3-2. Originally signed as a 16-year-old by the Astros out of Venezuela. Now 29 years of age. He's had a little over 2 years of big league time. Pop up right behind home plate. Josh Bard makes the play. So Owings is retired. Dodger relievers have now retired the last 6 in a row.
Left fielder number 2, Everett Cabrera.
Josh Bard doing everything fundamentally correct there. Found the ball, got rid of his mask, made the play. Wiped the snow off the ball when it came down. It was hit up there so high.
Cabrera showing bunt, takes outside. Cabrera is from Nicaragua. Nicaragua has never really been a hotbed for Major League Baseball players. But every once in a while. Remember Ed Figueroa? Former Yankee back in the late 70s? He's probably the best to ever come out of Nicaragua. Nieves 1-1.
El Presidente.
How did I forget him? Yes. Dennis Martinez. Vicente Padilla. Yes, Vicente Padilla is from Nicaragua as well. We saw him the last couple of years with the soap bubble.
Yes.
Strikeout. Cabrera is out number 2. So Nieve has gotten the first 2 outs. Ball hasn't been hit into the field of play. A foul ball out, and now a strikeout.
You know, I'll tell you, take a good look at that replay right there. That's what breaking ball's supposed to do. Get a guy to swing right over the top of it and go sit down. There is so much, there's an overwhelming amount of news that goes on during spring training. Guys obviously have signed with new teams, have bounced around, but I have not noticed where Padilla is. Signed with anybody? Sometimes a name will come up, and in this day and age, you can check your cell phone and figure it out quick enough, I guess, but hadn't really thought about where he was.
Hermida flies out to Matt Engel in center field. Side is retired. Well, this is it. Dodgers down by 3 with 3 outs to play. Home half of the ninth when we come back. Online shop of the Dodgers with the largest selection of authentic spring training gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for spring at the official source, Dodgers.com/shop. Bottom of the ninth inning. Dodgers really haven't threatened since the 3rd inning. They have a grand total of 4 hits, 3 singles, and a double by Jerry Hairston Jr. That is it. For the most part, they've been bottled up by Tim Stauffer, Alex Hinshaw, Micah Owens, and the new pitcher now, Brad Boxberger. He's going to pitch to Corey Sullivan to lead things off in the ninth. Strike 1 to Sullivan.
Boxberger, a Southern California kid at a Foothill High School in Tustin, California, was the Orange County Player of the Year in '06. Just that quickly, as we left last inning, wondering where Vicente Padilla was playing, signed with the Boston Red Sox. See how quick you can come up with info these days?
No reason not to have that information anymore with cell phones. No balls, 2 strikes to Sullivan. He calls time. Boxberger, originally drafted by the Cincinnati Reds. He came over to the Padres along with Yonder Alonso and Yasmani Grandal and Edinson Volquez in the Matt Latos trade that we've been talking about all afternoon long. This is a guy with a pedigree. His dad was an elite player, playing for Rod Dato at USC back in the 70s. 1-2. Pulled the string. Good changeup. And Sullivan is out number 1 here in the 9th inning.
Well, they're looking for what kind of arm this kid has and what they got in the deal. Nice changeup right there, down and away. Boxberger had a little unrequited love as well. Was originally drafted by the Kansas City Royals, and he said, oh no. Waited for the Reds to draft him, and then he said, okay.
First ball swinging, and this is Olchin, pops it, foul territory, catch is made, and there are now 2 outs. Dodgers in danger of being shut out here. And how about the Padres? They've won 4 in a row, 7 of their last 8. Did a lot of things really well today. Bunched together their hits in that 3-run 5th inning. They've got great starting pitching from Tim Stauffer, who threw 6 shutout innings. And now the guys in the bullpen have thrown strikes and worked quickly and got the Dodgers out.
Everybody tells you that spring training doesn't mean anything and your record doesn't mean anything. And that may be true, but I think it has a lot to do with just the way you feel about yourself. And you know me, Eric, I rarely use the word confidence because I just don't think you can shake the confidence of any guy down on that field. But the way the guy feels, maybe his mojo, whatever, you know, as a ball club, you're winning 7 out of 8. You're leaving the ballpark every day feeling good. Your team's struggling a little bit. You're not winning games. You start worrying about going into the season, even if you know that the record down here in spring training doesn't mean anything. When the bell rings there in April is when you got to put it together. It's a lot easier to put it together if you're feeling good going into it.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Matt Engel, former Baltimore Oriole. Broken bat, third baseman. Play is not made. Jed Jerko had the ball go right underneath the glove, and the game remains alive.
This is when you really have to stay still as a third baseman. The ball's going to bounce right in front of you. You know you're going to get eaten up by it. But if you make any move, the ball might squirt underneath you or get around you. Best thing to do is almost act like a catcher and knock it down. Still have a chance to throw the guy out.
So that's the first error for either side in our game. And it'll allow Adam Kennedy to get an at-bat against Boxberger.
Remember when you asked me about guys changing the way they swing? Adam Kennedy's had a nice career in the major leagues and has had one of the loopiest left-handed swings you'll ever see in your life.
And he gets a base hit to center field. Engel was off for the pitch, but no reason to really take any chances. He stops at second, and now the potential tying run coming to the plate.
Tim Federovic grabbing a bat, coming to his opportunity to maybe do some damage up there. When you talk about Kennedy, he's got a real bad loop in his swing, but he's made it work for himself for his entire career. Squared that ball right up, hit it right up the middle.
So here's Tim Federovic. Engel on at second, Kennedy on at first. Dodgers trailing 3-0, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Dodgers with an off day tomorrow. Pitch misses up and in. Ball 1.
Federovic known mostly as a defensive catcher. Not a lot of pop in his bat, but you make a pretty good impression on what's going on if you go up here and try to put one into the left field seats and tie this thing up. Good effort right there to do it. Few times in a ball game where a hitter will go up there and look for one pitch and try to jump all over it, maybe get a little bigger than normal. Another good pitch to hit right there, looking dead red, sitting all over it.
Ball and 2 strikes to Federovic. Dodgers now with 5 hits as a team. 2 by D. Gordon, a double by Jerry Hairston, and then singles by Tony Gwynn Jr. and Adam Kennedy. That'll do it. Federovic called out on strikes, and the Padres, well, it's a 4-headed shutout. 3-0 the final score. With an off day tomorrow, the Dodgers now a record of 9 wins, 6 losses, and 4 ties.
But you know, the Dodgers had a couple missed opportunities in this game early, most notably the first inning when you have D. Gordon on second and he doesn't score from there. Those are the kind of things where the Dodgers will be kicking themselves all year long. If you can get D. Gordon on and he doesn't score, that has to happen. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the ballgame.
Next time you can get to the Dodgers is Saturday. That's a 1 o'clock start. That game will be over on KCAL. That's when the Cleveland Indians take on Don Mattingly's Dodgers. So an off day tomorrow for the Dodgers. Get a chance to kind of regroup and finish off spring training on a high note. Opening day is not too far away. Steve, sure enjoyed working with you. It's been a lot of fun over the last week or so.
We will do it again soon.
Sounds good. Padres a winner over the Dodgers 3-0. That's going to do it from Glendale. Have a great day, everybody.